Hello and welcome to the Ellenmade book club. Today I'm doing the I'm so annoyed tag. This was originally created by Melinda at A Web of Stories and then turned into a tag by Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading, and I'll link those below so you can check them out. I was then tagged by the lovely Pat at Book Chat with Pat, and it's my first time ever getting tagged, so I'm very excited. It's a big day for me. I'm also a sensitive soul. I'm easily offended, easily annoyed, and as I was looking through the questions in this tag, I realized I'm annoyed at a lot of things. So this might be a long one. Grab your beveragino of choice and let's get into the questions. The first question is, do publishers ever do things that you find annoying? Share an example. And I do have a few examples here that I want to discuss. First of all, the different sizes of books, which I guess it's a good thing. People have different, preferences if they like a smaller size or a bigger size or a slim size. I like straight lines in my bookshelves, and all the different sizes doesn't look nice. And if I have like these two, Circe and Song of Achilles, they're not a series, but they're by the same author and they're the similar kind of book. So it would be nice to have these on the same shelf together, but they are completely different sizes. So then that's not gonna look nice. No. Some books, when I order them in Sweden, there's a pocket size and a paperback size, and those two are not the same. And I can't get Swedish ones in this size, and I can sometimes get English in this size and sometimes in this size, and it's inconsistent. I also have these two by Jessie Burton. These are not a series, but again, they're the same author. And now when I want to buy The House of Fortune, which is the sequel to this one, how am I supposed to know which one I'm getting? Like, how am I supposed to know that The House of Fortune will be the same size as this one and not the same as this one? Why do you make it so hard? Another thing that I find really annoying is when the title is different. Like, the English title is different in different countries. So, for example, I have this copy of The Other Hand by Chris Cleave, but in other countries it's called Little Bee. And it's the same book, it's the same story, it's the same character, same language, different name. Why? Another example is the Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which is originally called the Philosopher's Stone, but for some reason it can't be the same. Another thing, which is more about the layout of the text, I guess, which I find really annoying, is when the text goes like too far into the middle here, and so you have to like break the book apart to be able to read all the way into the middle. And in this one, the font is super tiny, which is also a bit annoying. What's next? I also have these two. Why do I do that? Sorry, that's so annoying. And the last thing is when the text on the spine is the wrong way around. I'm not sure if this is based on language or country or whatever, but I have this copy of Butterfly, which is a book written in English, but this one is translated to Spanish. And so the title on the spine, it's the wrong way around. So on the shelf, when you're like going to look at your titles, you're going like this, going and then you have to That's so annoying. Oh, and one last thing. When the author and the title of the book is on every single page, Nita Prose on every single page here, and then the maid on every single page here, I find it very distracting. It takes me out of the story that I'm reading. I don't need to be reminded every single page what the book is called and who wrote it. I know what the book is called and who wrote it, but like, can I just read it, please. And then when I close it, I'm gonna see the title and the author on the cover of the book. I don't need to see it on every single page. Okay? Let's make some tea. What is question number 2? Have you ever been annoyed by a spoiler, even something as simple as someone else telling you that there's a great twist? Yes, I'm allergic to spoilers. I don't want to know what's going to happen. I don't want to know if there's going to be a twist, if the ending is going to be good or bad. I don't want to know. Even if it's a classic or a really old book or a popular book and everybody's read it already, and it's been made into a movie and all of that. I don't want to know. If I haven't read it, I don't want to know what happens. I will usually read a blurb of the book when I am buying it to decide if I want it or not. But then I usually leave it for a while when I bring it home. And my memory is crap, so it doesn't take me very long to forget it. But that's kind of what I want. I just want to experience the story with as little expectation as possible. I feel like that's the best way to not be disappointed. But there's also the other end of the spectrum where it's like too little information. Like someone might mention a book in a wrap-up video or something and just say that it was great. And then I don't know if I'm gonna think it's great. Like I need a little bit more information than that to decide if it's gonna be great for me. So very fine line. And I don't blame anybody for, accidentally spoiling a book, or, I mean, that happens. I probably do that too. But yeah, it's annoying. It's also really annoying when the blurb of the book is like too thin. I recently read The No-Show by Beth O'Leary. I found the blurb really intriguing. Sorry if I'm spoiling this for you now. Spoiler alert. It made me expect a certain thing, and then it wasn't at all what I was expecting. So then, even if the book is good, you still have that sense of disappointment because it wasn't what you thought it was going to be. That wasn't too much of a spoiler, was it? Anyways, question number 3. Have you ever been annoyed by what you discovered in a little free library, a book sale, or a used bookstore? Tell us what you found and why it was so annoying. I don't think so, but I would probably be annoyed if I did, unless it was treasure. I did find one annoying behavior in a regular bookstore. It was a very nice and quiet bookstore, and I was in the corner with the English literature, and it's a very spacious corner, and this guy comes in and he's wearing these big headphones listening to music, and he just has to stand right where I'm standing. So he's standing way too close to me, and then he's starting to like tap along with the music with his foot and like with his hands. And I'm standing there browsing the books and reading the blurbs and trying to find an interesting story, and he's just like shh. Okay, that's annoying. Question number 4. When it comes to short story collections, are you annoyed if there's a novella in the middle of the collection? The only short story collection I can remember reading is the Disney Donald Duck comic books, like the pocket size thick ones. And then there's a bunch of different stories, and some short ones, some long ones, and I thought that was great because I could, choose whatever I was in the mood for. I know that's not exactly the same thing, but I like having a variety to choose from, but I wouldn't want to be thinking that they're all the same lengths and then all of a sudden there's a long one in the middle. No, that would be annoying. Question number 5, deckled edges, beautiful or annoying? I don't think I've ever come across these. I don't know if that's an American thing or what. I had to Google what it even was. From what I can understand, it's when the edges are like uneven, and on older books, or like back in the day, like the olden bookbinding days, that was sort of unavoidable. That was how the paper was made and how the books were bound, and then that was just a natural effect of how they did that. And so in that case, I wouldn't be annoyed. Like if I found an old book that had that, I wouldn't be annoyed by that, because that's just a sign of the craft, I guess. But if it's done today, either to, if it's to like do a fake old book, or like make it seem like it's worth more than it actually is, that would be very annoying to me. And if it's just like to make it pretty, I don't know. Annoying. Oh God, I have hair in my face, which is very annoying. Question number 6. Other people's annotations in a used book or library book, annoying, or are you okay with it? A library book is meant to be used by different people, so no annotating in library books. That's just no, it's not your book, don't write in it. But if someone buys a book for their own use and then it somehow ends up in a used bookstore of some kind, like, I can't blame them for writing in their own book. I think that when you buy a book, you're free to enjoy it however you want, and that includes writing in it. And if I go to a used bookstore of some kind and I find that annoying, I think that it's my responsibility as a customer to flip through the pages and see if there are anything. I think it's my responsibility as a customer to flip through the pages and see if I find anything that's annoying to me, and then I don't have to buy the book. If it's an online store, I don't know. Doesn't it say? Also, if someone wrote in it like 100 years ago, that would be amazing and like really interesting. And so I think it just depends. And I mean, Snape wrote in his book, so. Question number 7. If there's a series or a collection of certain kinds of books, like an imprint, and changes are made, are you annoyed or are you okay with it? If yes, give an example. If yes, that's annoying. Are you annoyed or are you okay with it? If yes. Annoyed. So annoyed. Please make matching sets. Don't change it halfway through. That's... Nope. Beep, 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 beep. I don't think I have any examples other than the ones I showed you before, which are not really like series. Yeah, because I guess I just don't buy them if they don't look the same. Did I answer that? I don't know. Question number 8. Do the decisions of characters in a novel ever annoy you? Share the book and what decisions you found annoying. Well, that's, going back to spoilers and things. I'm not gonna do that. Right. What I will say is that for me, it's generally one of two things. I either don't think the book is very good, and it's probably gonna be some kind of romance where the women are very annoying to me and like obsessing over the wrong things. Making annoying decisions about some dreamy guy. I find that very annoying. And the other instance where I would get annoyed at a character's decisions is if the book is really good and I'm very invested in the characters and the story and like I care about them. And I think that's, if you get annoyed in that case, it's a very good sign, because that means it's probably a good book, it's good writing, you're engaged, you care. I kind of feel like if you don't get annoyed by the characters' decisions, did they even do anything? Was there even a story? Did you connect with the characters? Are they perfect? Are they, like, don't they have a single flaw? Are they just like perfect robots in a perfect story where everybody does the right thing all the time. Where's the drama in that, you know? Question number 9. Are you ever annoyed by how someone organizes their books? What do you find annoying? Probably yes. I can be very particular about how I like things done. Whether I like that or not is just a part of who I am and how I function. I mean, I know it doesn't affect me, so I really shouldn't care. But I think I would be annoyed at either extreme, like if the organization is super strict to the point where you feel like you can't touch anything, or like, I would also be annoyed by the other extreme, which is no organization at all. If it's just like, if I feel like the books are hurting, like I feel like they are leaning and like almost being bent, and like dusty piles on the floor, and like for a period of time. I get that. Like, I get that it can be like that, but no. I just like books being cared for, you know? You can sort them however you want, just be kind to them. Like I said before, I like the books to have the same height on any given shelf, so that there's like a clean line. I don't want it to be like skyline of books on my shelves personally. If you have that, that's fine. I don't prefer that on my bookshelves. Or if it's like a cozy chaos, like not where the books are hurting, but like it's just, you know, that cluttery, like so many books that is just like everywhere, and there's no way to sort them. Like that would ruin the cozy vibes. So that's okay too. Prosit. Question number 10. Share something bookish that you find annoying. Okay, so the first one is stickers on books that leave sticky residue. That's so annoying, so unnecessary. I don't understand it. The next one is, I know Melinda said, you know, this is not about Booktube, it's about bookish things. I'm gonna mention just one little Booktube thing, and please don't take offense if you do this. I don't find the person doing it annoying, I just find it annoying. It's when I see a thumbnail with the person holding the books like this. And you just see the pages of the books, you don't see the, like, I get it, it's probably a great strategy and you get more clicks and views, and you know, there's a sense of mystery and surprise and all of that. I just find it annoying. I find it annoying as a viewer. Like, I feel like I'm being tricked into watching something, or I click on the video and then I realize it's not gonna be my vibe, and then I have to click out of the video, and then I leave that creator with a shorter watch time. I don't want to do that. You know, just give me a few. You don't have to show all of the books that you're going to talk about, but like, just show me a few covers or spines or whatever, just so that I know if I'm going to be interested or not. Yeah. Another thing is when there's this vibe that you have to be in the know, or like you have to know so much about books to sort of be allowed to read. Like, I get that there is an element of education to books. And so, you know, there's this like prestige or like status from being well read, and, you know, being in the know of like the entire book industry, like the vibe that you have to know every single book that was ever written and every single author, and you have to know if that author is a good or bad person, and like there's just so many things that you're just supposed to know, and it's impossible to know all of the things about all of the books and all of the authors. So just that attitude from some people, I'm not saying on Booktube or anything like that, it's just, you know, within, you know, book snobs, you know, it just makes people feel small and makes people feel like, well, I'm not ever going to catch up to that person, so what's the point in reading? And like, it makes you feel like, well, am I allowed to like this book? Am I allowed to think this is a good book? What if it's not considered a good book and I enjoy it? And there's, you know, that snobbery of some books are better than others, and, you know, if you like a bad book, then you're a bad reader. No, that's annoying. Reading is for everyone, and if there's a book that everybody's read already and you haven't, then you have the luxury of experiencing that for the first time. And, you know, that's not something to be ashamed of. That's something to look forward to. And if you don't want to read it, that's fine too. And the last thing that I'm going to mention is reviews on Goodreads that start with a description of the plot. Maybe there's a point to it if you follow a specific person and you only read their reviews and then you want a summary of the book. But I just look at the reviews when I'm looking at a specific book, and then I've already read the summary at the top of the page, and then I scroll down to the reviews just to see what people are saying about it. And then they start summarizing it, and it's just like, yeah, I know, I just read that. So the last thing is to tag other people. And I have a list of booktubers here that I'm going to tag. Some are new and smaller channels, some are bigger. Some I've been watching a lot, some I've just found. And so, yeah, tag, you're it. I'm tagging Jess at J Reading Books, Lyza at Blacklore, Simon at Savage Reads, Hailey at Hailey in Bookland, Hannah May at Hannah May 11, Sunny at A Sunny Book Nook, 5 at Lit Vibes with 5, Angela at Angela's Bookcase, Jon Sierra at And They Were Readers, and Chelsea at Libraries and Lattes. I hope you enjoyed this video or was very annoyed by it. Either one is fine. If you want to do this video yourself, go ahead and do it. Just link the original creators in the description. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.